Yeah.
And Marika will give you her email. So that's direct contact.
We are just waiting that the event is live and then we can start.
Okay.
Okay, so we are live now. Broadcasted on AirMeet, so we can go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to World Food Forum Tanzania chapter launching event. My name is Mwasiti Kazinja. I work with Agrithamani Foundation as a manager, and I'll be moderating today's session. I want to thank you all for joining us today, and we hope you find these sessions informative and useful. So briefly, on our AirMeet, we have youth participants from different youth groups and organizations coming from various regions in Tanzania, like Kagera, Tanga, Pwani, Arusha, and so much more. And we also have invited speakers with extensive background and experience in nutrition and food systems, working in government sector and private sector. So without taking much of your time, I would love to jump to our first session, which is about nutrition and food security in Tanzania, where we are going to have panelists discussing on topic of youth role in achieving better health and better lives. So I'm gonna let the speakers to introduce themselves and then proceed with the presentations. And I'm not sure if we have Dada Grace Moshi from Ministry of Health.
Yes, Grace is online. Grace, if you can turn on your camera and then you will be able to speak.
Okay. Yes, I think, yeah, we have Grace Moshi. I have seen her here. So we are starting with Dada Grace Moshi from the Ministry of Healthy. Welcome, Dada Grace. Dada Grace. Okay, so maybe she might be experiencing some issues. So maybe I jump to the next speaker on the same topic. Mr. Seth Mkisi.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, if you can please turn your video.
My background, it's a little bit terrible today. Is that okay if I proceed that way?
If you proceed this way, the people online will not be able to see who is speaking.
Just let him.
Okay.
But if it doesn't work, you can proceed.
Okay, fine. My name is Seth Charles. I am based in Arusha, and I am the founder and managing director of Shamba Box. I am so excited to have this privileged chance to join you today on this occasion. So without taking much of your time, let me share with you a little bit about Shamba Box and what exactly we are doing. This is food and agricultural consultants. We are based in Arusha, which is in the northern part of Tanzania. And our focus is much on impacting smallholder farmers. And we are focusing much on the issue of marketing, accessing to marketing, food security, health and nutrition, climate change resilience, as well as post-service handling issues. So I've been invited to share with you a a little bit about the youth role in achieving better health and better lives. So since we are talking about food systems or food industry, we all know that there is a great connection between food and health. And as I stated earlier, that at Shamba Box, we are focusing on health and nutrition as one among our key areas. The reason behind is that food
We lost the speaker on our end.
Are you there, Sekti? His mic is on, but he cannot speak.
Okay.
Maybe he has some issues with the internet.
Yeah, I guess so.
So maybe we save time and we proceed with Madam Grace Mosha. I think she's already here.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you
Hello.
hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm Grace Moshi, working with the Tanzania Ministry of Health. I'm Assistant Director for Services. Yeah, now I'm going to speak about the role.
Sorry, madam, can you put closer your mic? We can't hear you well. You're breaking.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm Grace Mosh. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Grace Mosh, working with the Ministry of Health. Yeah, I'm going to talk about good nutrition, about good nutrition among youth. As we all know, good nutrition helps every youth to thrive in the reaches for a potential. Yeah, the world today has the largest generation of 1.8 billion between the age of 10 to 24 years. Many of them already are driving transformative change, and many are poised to do, but lack the opportunities and the means. And among the opportunity and means which youth lack is about healthy as well as nutrition issues. And when you look at the youth in Tanzania, they approach 18 million population. About healthy and the nutrition status, when you look about nutritional status, youth in Tanzania, they are facing the triple burden of malnutrition. When I'm saying about triple burden, I mean that undernutrition, micronutrient deficiency, as well as overnutrition. Yeah, according to Tanzania school malaria nutrition survey conducted in 2019, data shows that more than 1/3 of school-age children or school-age children, as well as adolescents. That means the group of youth, that is about 4.3% we are suffering. Girls are more affected compared to boys. As well, when you look at the prevalence of stunting, they have 25%, and the underweight is around 11.7%. Yeah, as well, the assessment look about the physical activeness for the youth, and the results from that survey showed that around 42% of youth were active. That means that the level of physical activity were very low, and when you compare by residents for urban and rural, the urban population, the level of activities
Dada Grace,
yes,
Dada Grace, you are breaking. You are breaking and we cannot hear you well.
how about, can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. So the government of Tanzania, among the priority is to improve the nutritional status of youth, because that age, whenever any intervention is done to that age, that means we can make their full potential. Maybe among the interventions which is done nutrition for youth, one of them is the promotion of their diet, food fortification, which is done by big industries as well, and we are doing the interventions to address related to malaria, anemia, currently, and again, Tanzania has initiated.
Dada Grace,
Yes, can you hear me?
I think your connection is not good because you're breaking and we can hardly hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, but maybe
The background is also a bit noisy.
yes, yeah, your background is a bit very noisy, so we hear the noise more than the words that you're uttering.
So, because I'm on the way. That's why.
Next,
Can you hear me?
Madam Grace.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the internet is not really working. If you are going to settle maybe in 5 minutes, then you can proceed right now, and then you can join us when you are in a settled place. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so because we are running out of time, I think we can quickly proceed with the second session. We'll be talking about the link, the nexus between climate change and nutrition. So it's that we couldn't hear well, Madam Grace and our colleague Seth Charles talking about the food security and the role of young people in the food security. But now we have an opportunity to interact with Mr. Tumaini Charles, who is actually working for USAID Tanzania, and also Madam Rachel, who is working with the NCD program of Tanzania and Tanzania Diabetes Association. I am confident enough that we're going to have an interactive session, and you're going to share a bit of how can we link nutrition and climate change. So maybe we start with Madam Grace, and in your speech, please try to, because you don't have one-on-one interaction, so maybe try to interact to bring all together the concept of nutrition in one hand, and how can we survive during this climatic change.
I think,
Welcome, Madam Rachel.
yes, Rachel, yes.
She's stuck again.
Okay, I think she's stacking.
Then we can start with Mr. Tumaini Charles.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
evening.
Tumaini Charles, can you hear me all?
Yes, sir.
Clear and loud?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I work with the MSU USAID funded SPICE project, supporting agriculture component, but also nutrition component in terms of policy, in terms of regulatory reforms and research as well. So coming to this topic about the link between climate change and nutrition, I would want to say that climate change is one of the most pressing issues that is affecting agriculture and, of course, food security. And I think food security has been well defined by FAO, where we are looking at the food availability, food access, and the food utilization, but also stability. And with climate change, we have a big impact on how the food security elements can be realized. Also, how the crop yield has been affected. The crop nutrients, which are very important for improving nutrition, but also crop composition, and looking also at the quality, quantity. But also important is about the pattern on food production. So all these, I would say, they have been very much impacted by climate change, which as a result, it has created food insecurity. And with the food insecurity, basically, you are talking about inadequate food intake among the consumers, which basically brings is an onset of various forms of malnutrition. And I just want to give some examples here that perhaps could give us a good picture on how climate change could affect nutrition component. So with the increase of just 1 degree centigrade Celsius temperature, that could contribute to about 1.64% of the global reduction in food availability, and that is actually more on how we are producing our food, on how we are accessing the food, but also on how we are utilizing the food that is actually coming from agriculture. And with that drive, then for sure, it will drive also a malnutrition onset. Another example that I want to share is the increase of atmospheric carbon dioxide. With the literature that we have, it shows that any increase on atmospheric carbon dioxide would actually reduce availability of various nutrients. For example, it could reduce up to 20% of the protein, and it could reduce up to 14% of iron, but also as far as 15% of zinc by the year 2050. So moving from now up to year 2050, if there's not any major change in terms of how we are addressing climate change, we are expected to be very highly impacted, especially on protein and iron and zinc availability to our consumers. So looking also on how climate change has impacted how it's linked to nutrition, we can also see that it also affects the dairy, the meat and egg production, and this is because of the high temperatures that keep coming, but also changing the rainfall patterns that affect the source of water, and also the feed and the forage, and also the increase in terms of livestock diseases and pests. So all this is actually an impact of climate change when it comes to dairy, meat, and egg production. The same also we can see it in the fisheries also. It affects a lot in terms of agriculture practices. And with all this, we see how climate change is affecting the availability of safe and clean water, which is very important in our nutrition concept, because through that we could have improved water sanitation and hygiene, which are very important for improving nutrition in our settings. So we see all this kind of negative relationship that in general and conclusively they would lead actually to availability, accessibility, but also affordability of nutritious food being so much impaired. And with that impairment, then more people tend now to go for highly processed food. But at the same time also, they won't be able to afford the healthy diet. And that increases the onset of various forms of malnutrition in our setting. Just one more example that I would want to share with the link. If you are looking at the 20-50 years to come, we have some evidence that in East Africa, countries such as Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda, we are likely to experience about 22% decline in agriculture production. And this is a very big impact to our society. But also we're expecting about 8 million people from this sub-Saharan Africa that would go hungry, and so various forms of malnutrition will manifest in Southern Africa countries. And this actually is already a reality in Tanzania, because we already see some changes in terms of how the rainfall are coming up. Some of the areas that have been receiving like twice a year rains, now they are receiving like maybe once in a year or short rains. But also see this in the rising temperature that we are experiencing already in the country, where it's being estimated that come 2080, if no any major kind of intervention is going to be done, then the temperature in Tanzania is likely to increase by about 1.4% degrees centigrade. So with that increase, as you could see previously, just 1 degree centigrade increase in temperature, it would actually contribute to about 1.6.4 food insecurity. So come year 2080, if we are not seriously addressing climate change, then nutrition is going to be very much affected in Tanzania. And we are looking at, we have some strategies that I think everyone should be able to kind of follow. We have the National Climate Change Response Strategy that the country has put in place for 2021 to 2026, that we may need to be looking at, so that we can learn on how the country is actually prepared to kind of address climate change and the nutrition issues in the country. So thank you for that, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Tumaini. I remind participants from the Air Meet to take note of these enriching insights from our speakers. And if you have questions or comments, please keep them coming in the chat box. We are gonna read them afterwards. So without wasting time, because we have a very short time, I would love to welcome Honorable Neema Lugangira, a founder of Agrithamani Foundation. to give us an overview. And from there, she's going to welcome Michelle and the guest of honor. Thank you. Welcome, Madam Neema.
Hello, everybody. Today is a very exciting day, and special thanks to our speakers. I know it was very short notice, but this is very, very a very good day that we're launching the World Food Forum Tanzania chapter. And with us, we have the World Food Forum global coordinator, Michelle. So kindly grace us with some words from you.
Thanks, Nima. But also give a shout out to Emma, who was actually the one who had connected us, and it was not possible to meet without you. So yeah, I think like maybe to say some things about maybe how and why we thought about this Tanzania chapter. We met Nima in 2021 where she spoke at the WFF Forum, and there we also talk and discuss about the importance of having youth in developing countries to especially, talk about the issues on the local level. And then I met Crispin actually in Rome in February, and I wish that he was here with us for this launch here. And then we also further talk about how there's so much of a need for young people to get engaged in Tanzania and start to advocate for the nutrition, which is what Nima saw here in the WFF Forum. Having this space for young people to engage. So the youth action track of the WFF Forum is to create this safe space where young people can come and connect from different regions, from different countries to discuss, what are the unique challenges that we are facing and what the needs are. And from that, we discussed furthermore about what the Tanzania chapter could look like. And here was Nima who stated the importance for young people in those regions to being able to advocate for this. And then I connected her to Crispin, who is one of the biggest advocates, and we discussed, the issues of nutrition and stunting, healthy diets, healthy planets, and so on. But also the need to build capacity of youth in this region to be able to engage in policy, because they are the future leaders of the world, and therefore it is important to start engaging in policy discussions now. So here is where I think the WFF Forum and the local chapter is to build that capacity with youth and to build new advocates in Tanzania for a healthy diet and a healthy planet. And I'm very excited to work with the Tanzania chapter next year as well, to see how we can further put the needs of Tanzanian youth on the international level as well. But I guess I want to pass it maybe to also Crispin to maybe say a few words from that as well, because he's an amazing guy, full of motivation as well, with a lot of thoughts. And I was very inspired when I met him. So I'm sure he can also grace us with his words.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle and Madam Neema. I'm really sorry that I couldn't make it today. I had a very nightmare early in the morning. I missed my flight. But then I'm really happy, as Madam Neema just mentioned. I mean, this is one of the amazing days, especially for the young people in Tanzania, because I believe this is going to be an opportunity, a platform to bring young people together to engage in the global platform, to connect, and also see how we can take forward the action, the movement, the initiative to change the food systems. And as the passion we see from Madam Neema as a mentor as well for the young people, to see how we can also work with the policymakers and how we can also enact what is being implemented or what is being discussed in the policy making, and then put it into action. And I believe as the young people, we have all the power to do this. We still have all the energy to do this. As today we have 30 here as a young guy, also running a company in food consultation. We have different expertise from different parts of the world. So this platform, I think, for Tanzania is going to bridge all the young people and young at heart to bring together all the initiatives and all together fight the contribute toward the food system transformation, and really to be able to see the vision of a healthy planet and healthy diets. So thank you so much, and I hope you're having a good time at Rome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. Before I bring in the guest of honor, Mr. Odax, Emma, a few words.
Thanks, Nima. I think there's not so much to add. We're really happy about the opportunity to build capacity and to bring more Tanzanian youth to World Food Forum globally, as well as young scientists, as focal point groups, as champions. Like, these are the things that we discussed with Nima. Also to build capacity for them to be able to discuss, exchange, and have really meaningful participation in parliamentary work that is being done in Tanzania. And I think these are like many of the visions for this chapter. So really excited to see what after the launch will happen. And Nima, I'll leave it back to you for the guest of honor.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Odax has a huge, huge CV. He's actually the founder and executive director of the Agricultural Non-State Actors Forum in Tanzania. So he's heavily involved in issues of agriculture, livestock, fishery, but also coordinates all non-state actors. And we felt that he would be not only the best guest of honor, but also best mentor for us going forward in making sure how do we include youth in policy spaces, and how do we also empower youth to participate in meaningful dialogues. So without further ado, Mr. Odax, thank you so much for accepting this invitation, and welcome for your official launching speech. Karibu.
Honorable Nema, let me take this opportunity to thank you and Agri Thamani for pioneering this process. And thanks for Masiti, who has been actually keen following up, making sure that by the end of the day, this happens. A very good morning and good afternoon to you all, our participants. Without much introduction, let me also pick some few areas that we also need to understand. I think the most important part that we are doing this morning and this afternoon, number one is we are launching World Food Forum Tanzanian chapter just after the commemoration of the World Food Day, under which the theme was on Leave No One Behind. And I think this theme has a very wide meaning in terms of engagement, but at the bottom of it, looking at the future and the future generation from the current generation. And for that matter, I think the young people, the youth, are at the heart of every discussion and every decision-making fora or wherever we discuss issues related to the agri-food systems. And I think that is very, very important. But I actually moved by the passion of the Honorable Nema when she's actually passionate about issues related to nutrition, issues related to the young people, and agricultural and agri-food systems in general. And I think this is something to commend at her personal life, but also when working in the parliament, we have seen actually her working consistently to promote issues that we are talking about this morning. Maybe before getting deeper into the issues, I think had the discussion about the young people, and probably what we also need to understand, the young people also form part of the SMEs, and for that matter, in Africa, where we are saying actually SMEs employs around 70% of the labor force, and mainly through agricultural interventions. And for that matter, we are supporting the agenda related to promoting, encouraging, and nurturing the youth, and to taking the leadership, not at the political arena alone, but also the leadership in terms of transforming the economies of this country. But which kind of young people are we talking about? And for sure, we are talking about the young people who are energetic, but who also have sound mind. And these two issues, being energetic and with sound mind, can never happen if these young people are not consuming and they are not accessing nutritious food. And now, nutritious food is also a healthy food. Now, the healthy food usually, again, need to come from, it should also be produced by a healthy mind, but from a healthy soil or healthy environment. And that talks about the water where we are catching the fish, the pasture where we are grazing the livestock, and the soil where we also are growing crops. Now, for us, we are linking now that kind of healthy food, healthy mind with what we are now discussing about the climate change risk that is the reality. The reality it is here to stay. And I think if you talk about climate change issues, producers, livestock, fisher folks, and crop growers in Tanzania and beyond, they would be ready to testify on how the weather has become erratic and rains being unreliable, and also talk less about increase in temperatures and also the frequency of rains and floods and such kind of things. Now, the major question here is whether the World Food Forum Tanzanian chapter we are launching is being launched cognizant of the challenges that we are having at the moment, the challenges related to the policies, the challenges related to the cultural aspect where we feel like the sector itself or the younger people need to wait until tomorrow, which never come to be given responsibilities, or the sector itself being for ignorant people, the uneducated individuals, or people who are too old to assume office jobs in the government offices and that kind of things. How do we work with those mindset? How do we change the mindset? But at the same time also, how do we bring the young people in an environment where policies also need to be friendly in terms of nurturing, in terms of promoting, in terms of also supporting them to grab these opportunities as major players. Without wasting a lot of your time, I thought probably winding up my speech here, I could pick some few issues beyond what I was speaking about: the healthy mind, the health food, and also health soil and health water bodies, as well as the grazing pasture. We are, and this is the reality, we are thinking about the young people getting into our leadership, taking leadership positions in agriculture, in terms of being innovative, in terms of grabbing business opportunities within the sector, but also innovative in terms of trying out some technologies and that were either not used, or they come up with some new ways of producing food commodities that could be consumed in a healthy way. Now, in doing that, actually, we also need to create environment that will attract the youth. And which kind of environment are we talking about? The policies, the financing, but also we have to make a real commitment in terms of making sure that a certain segment of policy-making platform participants, at least we have a certain percent of the young people in the decision-making platforms. And I'm happy to say this. At ANSAF, working with all our members, over 90 organizations working across Tanzania, both in the mainland and Zanzibar. Our major interest has been unlocking opportunities that will bring the young people on the forefront. And the last point that I want to talk about is actually, I think it's high time that we will help the youth, the young people, to see the opportunities by engaging. And probably what I would like to say here is, you see, the young people are looking at politicians in terms of giving them and calling them, indicating, okay, these are the opportunities. They're also looking at the banks. The banks call them and say, oh, you come and take loans, take credit facilities from the banks. These are the opportunities. Now we want the young people to be more proactive, to be aggressive, to pick these opportunities. And why the emphasis is on young people is because they have courage. They have courage, and it's the future generation. They can move faster with the technology development we are seeing. They can grab market opportunities in South Sudan, in Saudi Arabia, and across the globe, and sell product from Tanzania. And probably they can do a lot of trials and make a lot of things. By the end of the day, I think the last comment is about empowering them. Empowering them in which way? Empowering them in terms of giving them preferences, preferential treatment. That's the right word, preferential treatment. Now, how do we give them preferential treatment? For instance, in Tanzania, we have opportunity where the youth, people with disabilities, and women can get access to the loans from local government authorities. So for us, we think this is one of the opportunities where the government is doing good in terms of, promoting the youth-related businesses. But at the same time, the youth-related business, I think they need to be meaningful, and meaningful in terms of unlocking opportunities for employing other young people. And the only sector, the major one, is agriculture that is capable of doing that. Once again, let me take this opportunity. Thank you, Madam Neema Rugangila and the entire AgriThaman team for organizing this, and have a blessed day. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very, very, very much. That was so inspiring. And I can tell you here in Rome, both Emma, Michelle, and others in the room, they now see why we asked you to be the guest of honor. Asante sana, thank you so much. Now the moment we've been waiting for, the launch. Emma, over to you.
Give me 1 second. I'm having a slight technical issue. Here we are. Thanks, Nima, for this surprise. I think we really appreciated it on World Food Forum side. She's very happy of the surprise. You want to say last words before we close, Nima?
No, thank you very much. Last words, Michelle. You can close it for us. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Nima. But I guess this is just, what we can call the start of all the activities going forward. And I'm really looking forward to hearing the voices of Tanzanian youth in the future in World Food Forum, as we did for the past days here right now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
thank you, everyone. We will close now. Thanks a lot to all the speakers, and we hope to engage with you in the future of the Tanzania chapter again. Thanks, Mwasiti, for all the organization, and thank you, Crispin. I'll close and then we will go offline. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Everyone, and for the opportunity, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.